Court orders SEC to explain crypto stance, opening door for policy shift. And so what's interesting here is we are looking at the court kind of, opening up and saying, okay, SEC, what's going on with crypto? That is a complete change from the way the SEC has been addressed by policymakers. The SEC has been addressed as policymakers from the Republican side, especially as they don't know what they're doing. We hate these people. They're unfair. They do this, they do this, they do this, they do that, right? But now we're seeing that not only is the court changing, but the SEC is now being given the opportunity to go explain their case, which allows them to back off certain, dumb things. It's like the way the court is even addressing and speaking to the SEC is different. We're already in the midst of policy changes that aren't even necessarily, that aren't tangible. You can't necessarily see them yet, but they're there. So the SEC has been, and I love this picture, ordered by a federal appeals court to provide a comprehensive explanation for its refusal to establish clear rules.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
Great picture. Men don't know what I'm talking about. Don't you hate when you get that little fuzz at the end of your lip?
Oh, that's the worst.
Man, I hate that thing.
That's why you just grow a beard out and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's right. This ruling delivered by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit comes during the final days of Chair Gensler's tenure, presenting a potential pivot point for the agency under incoming leadership. They're giving the opportunity. And this is why, guys, you saw a policy change from me. You saw a policy change from me in the last year, really, since I went and met with Gary Gensler to get the BTC ETF approved in Washington, D.C. in December or January, whenever that was.
Today, guys, I am here live at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Today, we are here to declare I'm not leaving until the Bitcoin ETF is approved, period.
I really started understanding the bigger picture here and how the SEC actually did play a major role in where we're at in crypto today. They served as an illusion to make people think that crypto is secure now all of a sudden. And they did that job. They built confidence in weeding out some of the bad players in the game, whether they were actually bad players or not. People thought they were. And so, I think it is very important to understand the SEC did do a lot of things over the last 2 or 3 years, really, that set things up. They did some bad stuff too. But this is why you don't want to take one view of an agency. They change, and they change even within different presidential terms sometimes. So they're not great. We're not saying we love the agencies and stuff, but now we're saying, well, look at this. Now an agency that was against us, hold on a second. Now let's sit here and think, what if the SEC is for us now? And they're for crypto, and they're looking at this market like they look at the stock market and they try to protect stuff. Like, they don't try to protect stuff necessarily all the time that you think they're protecting. Sometimes they're protecting other stuff, which is more important stuff that they protect, that allows a lot of the flowing and moving on these markets that we see. So I think that this is a time where, we don't want to say we hate the SEC. We did not like the way the SEC was ran under Gary Gensler for much of his tenure because of what we felt like was unfair treatment of people and entities in crypto that we know to be certain things. And the SEC is trying to tell us and tell the public there's something totally different than they are. And we know that's not true. We saw it with XRP. And guess what? Justice won. They lost. Whether it was planned or not, different question, different show, different day. Are you looking for a reliable crypto exchange with low fees and high security? The search can be overwhelming with so many options out there. Join Phemex using my affiliate link. Experience top-notch trading features, low fees, and strong security. Click the link in the description to get started today. Okay, so now what we're seeing is clear crypto rules. And now, man, I tell you guys, do you see the politics? Do you see the theater in this? Mm-hmm. Do you see the theater? Yeah, big bad Gary Gensler comes in. He's supposed to be for blockchain. He rug pulls us. He hates us and he hates it. And even though he's the most hated person in crypto for 4 years, he becomes the person that casts the vote to approve the Bitcoin ETF. And he will always be remembered for two things. But for those in crypto during this time, number one, losing XRP case. And number two, the ETF, again, the Bitcoin ETF approved. So I think the XRP army will remember in one way. The general public will probably remember more for the Bitcoin. For the Bitcoin. So the point is that Gary Gensler came in and played a villain role. And he did it really well. And you got to give that to him. And Gary Gensler is definitely a villain, and he definitely plays a villain role. Like, that's what the Thug Life glasses are. He did in memes and stuff. Like, he knew he was supposed to be the villain. He was playing the villain because now he got to be the person that got the Bitcoin ETF approved. All of this stuff in the market today, all of the institutional movement, it's because Gary Gensler voted yes. He was the 5th vote in a 2-2 tie. And he crossed party lines, being a Democrat, and voted for a generally Republican policy standpoint, product, however you want to call it. During this season, it was Republicans like crypto, Democrats don't, and Gary Gensler was a Democrat. So he's going to be remembered for that, and he did the right thing there by force, I'm sure, he had to. But now that we've had a villain come in, now it opens the door for the clear regulation. And you gotta ask yourself the question. Like, I think Mr. X would tell me that this is that I'm off on this one. I think he would tell me this. And because of that, I'm not going to put this across like completely confident. But Gary Gensler's job, right, was to, what did we always say that he did not do? What did Gary Gensler never do? And we hated this about him. He would not provide clarity. Would not provide clarity on anything. Would actually make it more confusing. And you got to wonder, was that actually part of the plan to make it all look normal? Because, it just opens up the door right now for great possibilities. I'm going on too many rants here, but what I will say is there's a lot of very interesting things here. And I could argue that for 4 years, I said he didn't do anything. He didn't provide clarity. And in reality, it's either by mistake and just being so, pardon my French, shitty at his job. It's either by mistake and he's just so shitty at his job that he cannot do the one thing he's supposed to do in his role, which is provide clarity. Instead, he just kept enforcing, right? I wonder why. Was all of the theatrics actually what was necessary to show the confusion for 4 years, to show how important this is, and to provide a runway for us to get all favorable policies towards crypto in a very short window of time? And I would make the argument that whether on accident or whether it was part of a diabolical scheme and he's really a great chess player and this is what he wanted to do and he loves being the villain, either way, Gary Gensler is the reason why we are getting clarity, for sure. People wouldn't have been clamoring for clarity without Gary Gensler doing what he did. And also without what else? What else would it not have without SPF and FTX? So there you go. That was a deep dive into how clear rules can transform the crypto landscape and how I think all that went down.